So yes, that was me, 370 pounds, which is, give or take, 26.5 stone. It is also around 168 kilograms. I was a very, very heavy boy, and I'm still really heavy. But what we're going to do in this video is go through what I'm doing about it. And this is going to be the start of a very, very long journey. And I also want to point out very quickly as well, before we jump into this, the footage you're seeing is just from some random walks and stuff that I've done. I bought myself a chest mount, I've got my phone attached to it, and I'm just recording whilst I'm out walking and stuff. And most of, if not all of the footage you're going to see, I'll try and get different walks and stuff in, but the footage is going to be very similar, at least for the foreseeable future. And when I do progress updates and stuff, I'm going to cut my face out of it because I do want some sort of privacy. I don't really want to deal with that face stuff, at least for the time being. I'll obviously do topless photos so you guys can see the differences in my body over time. But yeah, I kind of just want to keep this chill, a focus on fitness and health, so more of the talking side of it, just with some nice relaxing footage in the background. And yeah, obviously if you guys have any suggestions, if you want to see certain things in videos or stuff, then let me know. And this all started when I was around 370 pounds. I think I was actually a little bit closer to 27 stone. And it's the biggest I've ever been, my whole life. I'm 31 years old. And I think the main reason for the massive weight gain, because I've always been pretty big, but I think the main reason for it is because I've spent a lot of time, and I mean a lot of time, playing video games. Pretty much every single hour I have spent awake over the last 11 plus years, I have spent at a computer desk playing video games, recording videos, chilling, having fun. And it's not just the weight that's been a problem from that. I've barely spent any time with my family. I have obviously spent time with the kids, with the missus. We've been on a couple of holidays here and there. But I've never really sat down and taken it into consideration how much time, not time that I've wasted, but how much time I've spent sitting there playing games. There's a couple of games where I've clocked around 2,000 hours. Some of the biggest reasons for me starting this journey in terms of my personal health, because obviously the family and everything come into it as well, but I had incredibly bad fluid retention that made my feet balloon to about maybe 4 or 5 times their normal size. And it started off very slowly. It was mainly because there would be some nights I would sleep in my gaming chair, so I wouldn't even make it to bed, where I was just so bad with gaming and recording videos non-stop. And I'm not going to change anything on that channel. I'm still going to play video games, but I'm taking a step back. I'm not going to aim to try and get 3 to 4 videos done per day or even more. I'm not going to try and play every single new game that comes out. I'm just going to focus on the games that I enjoy, the videos I want to do on that channel. But yeah, my feet started off with the sleeping in my chair, and then I think the weight got to my feet as well with all of the water build-up, the fluid retention. And they were really bad, and they stayed bad for the weeks, if not months. There would hardly be a time where I had normal-sized feet. So with all of that, there were other things that really got in the way, some fears and stuff. And I started panicking about possibly at some point having a heart attack. I couldn't shower without sweating and really heavily breathing. I couldn't bend over without struggling to breathe. I couldn't walk to my kitchen without getting a little bit out of breath. It got really, really bad. And I'm 6'3", so if I was the shorter, say I was 5'6", 5'7", I would have been massive. But because I'm 6'3", that weight didn't look as bad. However, 370 pounds, even at 6'3", with a big sort of build style, yeah, it is still a really, really heavy weight. So I had a lot of fears kicking in. I was scared that I might not be around in 10, 20 years. My weight was getting really out of hand because it was just progressively getting worse and worse as well. So I decided to say enough is enough. I'm not going to eat anywhere near as much as I was. I'm not going to sit around as much as I was. I'm actually going to start a weight loss journey. And I probably started it in one of the most difficult ways because and part of it was selfish. We'll get into that. But I started it by watching people online do calorie challenges and competitive eating. Don't know if you guys have heard of the channel, but Beard Meats Food. I've watched a lot of his videos where he's eating just, like crazy amounts of food. But in some way, and like just watching random YouTube channels where they're just doing like 10,000 calorie challenges and stuff, something about that, like seeing people suffer after such a big meal, it felt good to me when I started my calorie deficit. And it's very, very selfish. Oh, I feel good because I'm watching someone else in pain. But I know, especially when it comes to like competitive eating, I know these people look after themselves. Not how they should. You shouldn't be consuming 10,000 calories, but they do it in a way to where they're not obese like I am. So alongside the watching all the different food videos and stuff, which probably made it a lot harder than it needed to be to get going, because I was trying to cut down my food and all I was doing is watching other people eat. But what I did was I started off with a simple calorie deficit, calories in, calories out, and it's never that simple, but that is the start of it. And on top of the calorie deficit, sometimes I do go quite severe with it because my maintenance at my size and everything and for my age is around 4,100 calories a day, just because I'm now moderately active. With my calorie deficit, sometimes I drop, like after workouts and stuff, I drop below 2,000 a day, which is not sustainable over the long term. But every now and then it's fine. Like I feel fine. There's no fatigue. There's no lack of strength during my workouts or anything like that. And they are like once every now and then. I do typically aim for somewhere around 3,000 to maybe even 3,500 calories. And sometimes I'll skip a day of workout if I don't feel like doing it, because I'm not going to push myself to stupid amounts to the point where I'm going to give up my weight loss journey. I do want to keep this going for a very long time. I've done multiple diets and stuff in the past and they've all failed. I don't know if it's just the fear or anything, but I want this one to be consistent and I want to make it to my target goal, which at the moment is around 110 kilos. So around 50 to 60 kilos of weight loss. And alongside the calorie deficit, I have been doing a lot more exercise. As I said, sitting down for 11 years playing video games, I now go out at least a few times a week. I bought myself a walking pad, so basically a treadmill without handles, and I'm also doing weightlifting, say 3 to 4 times a week. And I'm doing the weightlifting on top of the calorie deficit because I'm trying to go for a body recomp where I build muscle at the same time as losing fat. My body is structured to be sort of like big and muscly. I'm not supposed to, well, at least I think I'm not supposed to be like lean and athletic. I kind of want to be big and muscly anyway. And with the like exercise and stuff that I've added in, all the weightlifting and stuff, I'm spending a lot more time with my family, so that's another positive to it. I spend a lot less time at my desk, maybe now 2 to 3 hours a day, whereas before it was anywhere between 12 and 18 hours a day, because my sleep was awful when I was just constantly gaming as well. Because obviously you've got that like brain stimulation of playing the video games and stuff. And it might all sound easy. Oh yeah, he's just doing a calorie deficit, he's doing some exercise, he's not spending as much time at his desk. But there are some things, more than likely purely because of my weight. There might be some other factors as well. But there are some things that I've really, really struggled with, at least for the start. I'm hoping it gets easier. Really, really hoping so. But the first thing is my feet. I've got quite bad hard skin on my feet. And I've only just recently started actually bothering with it and trying to get rid of it all. But on top of that, I've got a mallet toe. It is basically a hammer toe just on a different joint in the toe. So my toe is bent over, my toenail sort of like pushes on the floor and it causes pressure. Sometimes it can get quite painful and sore when I walk and stuff. So that's problems within my feet, and also painful feet because of how much weight they have to hold too. But then I've also got problems with my knees because they've just got worse and worse over the years. And now if I try to squat, even just body weight squats, it's really, really painful. There's just a ton of pressure that builds up. Sometimes it can feel like, for an example, it feels like I've got 100 kilos strapped to my knees, like just putting pressure on. And it's not even just the squats. If I just bend over and bend my knees a little bit, sometimes the pain kicks in. So I will be trying to do a couple of squats, and I'm hoping it's just a weakness of the knees and I can get rid of some of the fat around the knees. I can strengthen up those joints and everything, and I can build up the muscle, get my knees stronger to the point where they stop hurting. Or at least to the point where the pain eases up a bit and I can just carry on working on it over time. And then the last thing that's causing a bit of a struggle at the moment is my left thigh. I don't know why this has happened. I think it's just they've not, like, my left thigh is not adjusted to my weight. When I stand around for, say, more or less 5 minutes, I get severe burning all over my thigh. And there's like numbness and tingling as well. And it's weird because you would think it's directly related to my weight. And I mean, it still could be, but it only started, or I only noticed it when I actually started maybe a week or two into my weight loss journey. Because at the moment, I am around 5.5 weeks in. I started on June 22nd, 2025. And I'm kind of made a mistake. I don't regret it or anything, but I never tracked my actual weight at the very, very start. Because I was thinking to myself, I've done these before, I've failed, I've stepped on the scales, I've not seen progress, I don't want that to hinder my journey, I don't want it to bring my journey to a stop. So I never weighed myself at the start, but I believe, because I lost quite a lot of weight, which would have been mostly water weight. I lost quite a lot within the first couple of weeks. I say quite a lot, people have obviously over the years lost a lot more in a much shorter time. But the last time I weighed myself, I don't even know when you guys are going to see this video, but the last time I weighed myself was the 27th of July, and I'm down to 25 stone 8, so 359 pound or 162.9 kilos. And I believe I must have been at least in the low to mid 50% body fat. I'm now 49%. My BMI, which should typically for a healthy adult, obviously it doesn't account for muscle and everything like that, but my BMI is currently at 45.1. I do have 83.2 kilos of fat-free mass. I've got 41.2% subcutaneous fat. My visceral fat, which is the one that traps itself around your organs, the really, really bad one, I've read that it should be somewhere around 13. Mine's currently 27. But I do also have 79.1 kilos of muscle mass. So, I mean, like, according to what I've read and what I've researched, I do have pretty much the perfect body to start a recomp. So at the moment, my goal is to get down to around, I'm going to say somewhere between 110 to 115 kilos, maybe a tiny, tiny bit more. But I don't want to be anything over 120 realistically, unless my body fat percentage is low, the visceral fat's low, so on and so forth. But that is my sort of goal. I really want to cut the body fat, the visceral fat. I want to get the muscle mass building up. And yeah, I'm probably around 5.5 weeks or so into doing this, and I think I've got a very good start. I'm not aiming to get as lightweight as I possibly can in a short amount of time. I want this to be something that I can eventually, like, I start off in a calorie deficit, doing all the weightlifting and stuff, getting all my protein and everything, and then when I reach around my target weight, just up my calories a little bit to maintenance, and then just maintain the fitness and stuff as the years go on. But yeah, that is the beginning of my journey. I started at around 370 pounds. As I said, I didn't weigh myself, so I don't know exact figures, but I think I was around that sort of area. Let me know if you've ever done a weight loss journey or if you're planning to do one. Let me know some of the struggles and stuff you guys have put up with in the comments, and some of the successes as well. And we are going to leave that video there. I will see you all in the next one.